create content that is stimulating, and I know what people want to see. And I just happen to have been around a lot of very attractive looking black men. Like, what's wrong with that? Shoot me. It doesn't. I guarantee you that the people that say, "Oh, she's fucking all these guys," like they have no idea. Like
No,
they
I
have.
mean, listen, you know what people want to see, and that is literally what marketing is. Marketing is putting, like, honestly, the only person you listen, Jubilee should be thanking you because using you for the cover, especially for what it was that you wore, and then it worked. I mean, it absolutely worked.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think that it's genius. It's smart.
Yeah, so to answer your question, guys do feel a certain way about that. And I had one guy, and it's so funny, they always come back, right? This one guy came, he resurfaced a few maybe a month or so ago, and I had dated him, gone on a few dates with him before I got with um the guy that you see a lot on my page, the young guy, and we were together for a long time. Well, I thought it was a long time, like 2 years, and he was 15 years younger than me. It was, very interesting dynamic, right? And so he resurfaced and he was like, "Hey, I'd love to take you out again. Like, how's everything going? I missed you. I moved to the area now," because he was from Texas, but he had clients here, so he'd go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But he straight up told me, he was actually very honest. He was marketing. He's in marketing and advertising. He said, "Hey, I like you a lot, and I would love to like take this further. I could see myself with you, but my parents would never accept you because they were faith based heavy."
Mm-hmm.
And so I, at the time, was like, "Okay, well, I respect you for telling me. Great. I wish you the best." Like, there's never hard feelings. Like, when people communicate, I love that. It's communicating, right?
Yeah.
But then when he came back at me, I was like, "Wait a minute. I thought mom and dad didn't accept me. What changed?" Right. And
Mm-hmm.
then, he said, "Well, you're too much of I'm too much of a feminist for you." I guess he saw me on Jubilee. And I said,
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
"And he's black." I said, "You're a feminist?" He said, "Yeah." And then he
So
gave me all
wait,
this.
wait. The black guy that was speaking specifically about how his parents wouldn't be able to rock with you based off of something completely different, then came back and said that he was a feminist.
Yeah, he said, well, he tried to shoot a shot again. And then I was like, "No, your parents wouldn't accept me. This relationship's going nowhere. Like, I'm dating for marriage. I'm not dating to just date. Like, that's stupid, right?" And I know you're not either. He wants to get married and have kids. He's getting up there. And so I said, "Your parents don't accept me." And then he goes, "Yeah, well, I'm too much of a feminist for you anyway."
Oh my god.
And then we argued. We went back and forth at some dialogue, and then he pretend not to hear my last voice memo. I was like, "Whatever, you heard that." Because I said, the feminist world would basically say the Me Too movement would, I said, "You're a black man." So I said, I could basically, if we got into an altercation or something, right? We say
Right.
we had an breakup. I could say, I'm not white, but people say I look white, whatever, or I'm white. I'm white, and he hit me,
Right.
he hit me, right? He hit me in our argument because I told him I was seeing another guy and I didn't want to be with him, and he hit me in front of my kid too. Whatever, I could say whatever, right?
Right. Right. Right.
They could believe me, and I could call the cops, and then they would put his name in the paper, and especially because he's black in Newport
So
Beach. I said, "So
so
you're a
you
feminist?"
explaining this to him, helping him to understand that because you're conservative and you don't align with what it is that women are doing today that actually put men behind the eight ball bothered him.
Yeah, I was just
That's
trying to
correct.
explain to him why his whole theory of, I said, "You of all people shouldn't be a feminist. You're a black man."
Right.
Like, and here's what could happen to you. All I'd have to do is make one phone call the police. I'm in white Newport Beach. I'm, quote white here, and you're black because he's black. You're black and you're 6'4" or whatever, and a bill guy. They're taking you to jail. They're putting your name in the paper.
Right.
I'm sitting here. I'm fine. How's
I've
that going to?
never thought in my entire life that I would grow to see a woman actually trying to explain to a man why he should not be a feminist and why he should not support what it is that he sees as far as being a feminist movement from a
Mhm.
person that from the woman that's actually trying to help him to understand how it works in his best interest to not think that way. This is
Correct.
wild. This is wild times.
It was wild to me too. I was like, I can't believe I'm actually having this conversation. Like, you should get it of all people.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I think that the narrative, and I told him, I said, you're following the narrative. You know, you're so afraid of offending a woman that you're following this narrative. Because his whole stuff was like, oh, you know, it was just the regular stuff like, oh, it's not fair to, you know, I can't, I don't even remember. It was so like the same story about like women need to be have their say and control and whatever.
Wait, wait, wait. This is what he's explaining to you?
Yeah, he was saying why he was a feminist because women's rights and this and that and blah blah blah. Just like whatever, dude.
That's just because you out there on the West Coast.
Maybe is it different in are you in the South or are you in East
No, I'm in
Coast?
the Midwest. I'm in Michigan.
Okay, you're Michigan. Is that Midwest or East Coast?
It's Midwest. We
Okay,
we
I
on
was
we got Eastern time zone, but it's Midwest.
Midwest.
Um, you know, I honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's everywhere. I don't think that you can avoid it. I don't think you can get away from it. I don't care where you at. It's all over, even the most conservative states. Um, you see it everywhere. It's just spreading like why. But I will say that it seems like people are more willing to step outside because it is a silent majority, in my opinion. And I think that people are now starting to get so fed up with it that it's starting to infringe on what it is that they have. Because see, it's one thing for me to say, okay, well, listen, I don't really care what you do. You do whatever it is that you do in your own house or whatever. But it's another thing when
Yeah.
my daughter got to be subjected to it when she go to school. You know what
How
I'm
old is she?
saying? My daughter is 15 now. Um,
Oh,
but I'm gonna be honest with you, Janelle. I contemplated. We
bless your heart.
strongly contemplated not having any kids.
I was like, bless your heart. You have are she in like private school or a small community
She's
or
in
what?
private school now, but we had
Okay.
to like. But think about it though. Like I'm in a position to where I can afford to put
Yes.
her, where I want her to be. Whereas most people, they go
Are
to the
not.
schools that's in their district, and that's just what they subjected to, and so they don't have any choice.
Yep.
You know,
Unless homeschool, and that's really hard.
it is hard.
Homeschooling is very hard. I did it. Well, my son, I mean, we live in a great area, Newport Beach. It's like the public schools here are run like private schools. This is Trump land. It's very conservative. And I talked to a lot of my friends and they said, save your money. Don't worry about private school till he's older.
Yep.
These people literally kill to get their son in the 92660, just public school here.